The price of Bitcoin coming off a 3-month low. It slid below 86,000 at one point yesterday. And right now, we're going to take a look. We're not going to start with that, though. Let's find out what the charts are saying about Bitcoin. But I'm actually more interested in actually the S&P and in especially interest rates, Katie. And you follow all of those, founder and managing partner at Fairlead Strategies. S&P 4 straight days. The resistance was around 6,000. Are we below? I'm sorry, the support. Are we below that support? And looking at 57.83, your next number, are we there yet?
Well, we did break the 50-day moving average. So that was the initial support for the S&P 500 after what looked like a breakout to new highs above that 6,100 resistance area. So the pullback to me it's a little tenuous. We actually think that with an intraday oversold and also with NVIDIA reporting today, we could get a little brief snapback, and that might be an opportunity for investors to put hedges back on if not already. And that we do believe that there's risk down to that 57.83 gap-based support.
What is all that? I think the bottom line, though, I don't know if you alluded to it there, I was looking at something, is that we're still kind of in an upward phase. You're not convinced that this is all of a sudden looking at something worse, 10, 15, 20% down?
You know, there's about, I think, 4% downside at this stage to that support area. So we don't feel like this is a major correction underway as of yet. Our indicators do mostly point lower from an intermediate term perspective. So we're, expecting it probably to get worse before it gets much better. This year to us is going to be likely a more of a consolidation, sort of choppier year. In a way, we're watching the secular bull trend, but it needs to take a pause at times. And we think that 2025 will be a pause year for the market. And as frustrating as it might be, especially when you're trying to assert a directional bias beyond the very short term, it will be constructive, probably longer term, to refresh that secular bull trend.
And we were in a new range on the 10-year. I think you would say 4 to 4.5, and we may not even hold 4.25 at this point. You think 4 is a possibility? I don't know what that says.
I do, yeah. You know, it's interesting. We saw a short-term breakdown in yields that we didn't expect. We are now looking at about 4.25 as next support, very close by for 10-year yields. And we are still looking at this as a counter-trend move, though, within the context of what was a secular shift higher. Ultimately, we're looking for yields to climb towards that 5 and 5.25 resistance area. But for now, they do look lower alongside the dollar, both of which have lost that intermediate term upside momentum. So we are looking for more of the same from yields.
So you had support on Bitcoin at just over 90,000. That hasn't been breached at this point? Is 90,700 still support, or have we moved through that and we got to go to a lower support? Which, I mean, you've talked about 70,000, but I think next is 81.5 or so.
Yeah, so the report you're reading there is from Monday. So that support has been taken out, and today it's likely to be a confirmed breakdown. It's just a short-term breakdown within the context of another secular bull trend for Bitcoin. But if you look at the chart, it does have that kind of eerie shape of a double top formation. So we feel that this corrective phase will persist. It might not persist in such dramatic fashion as yesterday, hopefully. But there is downside initially to that 200-day moving average, which is roughly 81.5. And below that, the next support is just shy of 74,000 for Bitcoin. I wouldn't rule that out as sort of a worst case scenario for this pullback or corrective phase. Just noting those double tops do tend to take time to work themselves out.
But you talk about it still being overbought and still being kind of in a, it still has a bullish pattern overall.
Right, long term, so you have to look at the monthly bar charts to kind of step back from all this noise. And you'll see it is overbought, but it should be overbought because it's had positive long-term momentum. Right. So we want to respect the uptrend until that shows any signs of deterioration. And at this time, we don't have that. We do have it in a lot of the altcoins, including Ether. Ether is in more of like a long-term triangle formation, more of a neutral pattern, longer term. And within that context, it's lost nearly half of its value from from, I think, December to the low this month. So really remarkable volatility within the context of that range.